So should Michigan be elated that Harbaugh's staying?
Yes, absolutely. Michigan, during the Rich Rodriguez and Brady Hoke era, in between Lloyd Carr essentially and where Harbaugh is now, was 24-32 in Big Ten play. 24-32. Harbaugh has absolutely solidified Michigan as being back to one of the premier top 10 football programs in college football. And I'm not taking shots at these other programs, but he did save them from becoming a team like or institution like a Nebraska that is trying to find their footing again, or Texas that is trying to find their footing again, or a Miami that is trying to find their footing again. I know Jim Harbaugh is not Dabo Swinney when it comes to the wins, or Nick Saban when it comes to the wins, or even Ryan Day when it comes to the wins. But they are a very good football team. He's been there for 7 years, Molly. 7 years. And I'm not going to count this 2 seasons ago, so essentially the 2020 COVID season. In that 6 years, outside of that 1 year, his wins are 10 wins, 10 wins, 8 wins, 10 wins, 9 wins, and 12 wins. I mean, the guy, all he does is win 10 games a year. And I understand the standard of Michigan is incredibly high, but we've seen what Michigan was without him. And people are going to point to, well, he did this on National Signing Day. If you listen to the college football people who are attached to that, it really wasn't that big a deal because most of their class, or the great majority of their class, was already locked in. So if you're Michigan, you're sitting there going, we've got the guy that we think has proven to have us be a consistent 10-win football team, and coming off of the college football playoff appearance last year, gives them the chance to be, again, in the conversation for a national champion.
You know what? We don't disagree there. I thought, to me, it's a non-story. The story is if he had left, because
I agree.
Leaving Michigan is a big deal, particularly when the first 6 years, as good as your record was, because you ultimately have a 61-24 record, which is not shabby. The bottom line is when before this year, he had to take a pay cut from $8 million to $4 million. His job was on the line. That's why he took the pay cut and changed the staff. And what does he do? He finally beats Ohio State, and he gets to the college football playoffs, you know, winning the Big Ten championship along the way. And so they had a very, very successful season. Had he left Michigan after that, that would have been a big, big story. The fact that he didn't get the Vikings job, first of all, when have the Vikings been relevant? They haven't been to the Super Bowl since 1976. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Kirk Cousins is their quarterback. Number three, they just find reasons for things not to happen for them, even though they've been in a couple of conference championship games. Here's the story for me, Dan, and I brought this up in the first hour, and I'm going to bring it up to you again because I'm wondering how you feel. We talked about Brian Flores. We talked about some of the things he has to deal with. We talked about some of the things, obviously, his allegations against 3 NFL teams in the National Football League, what they brought to light, and the plight of African-American coaches in the National Football League. I'm looking at the dude that was competing with Jim Harbaugh for the Vikings job, Kevin O'Connell. And if he's watching, this is no shade on him. You end up getting the Vikings job, congratulations. You're having a successful year. You're doing a good job for Sean McVay. Props to you. It's no knock against him. But I'm noticing this little tree, Dan Orlovsky. See, the Washington, at the time, the Washington Redskins, before they became the Washington football team, before they became the Washington Commanders, okay? Before all of that happened, all right, or while Jay Gruden was the quarterback. I'm sorry, was the head coach. Who did he have on the staff? He had Sean McVay, LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and all of this other stuff, Matt LaFleur. Yes, him, Mr. 27th ranked offensive coordinator in Tennessee before he gets to coach Aaron Rodgers, and then everybody's acting like he's so phenomenal. We'll see how much love he gets once Love throwing the football for him instead of Rodgers. But that's a different subject for another day. Bottom line is he won 13 games each year. He's been a head coach in the National Football League. He deserves our respect in all seriousness. But I'm noticing this tree. It's Sean McVay. It's LaFleur. It's Kyle Shanahan. Kevin O'Connell, if he gets the Vikings job, all of these. And I'm just wondering, I'm wondering when some brothers are going to be sprinkled in there. I mean, because when I look at the NFL, when I look at NFL Live, I see Dan Orlovsky and I see my man Swagoo, of course, the lovely Mina Kimes and the wonderful Laura Rutledge, okay? But I see Dan Orlovsky and Swagoo. I look at ESPN, we see me. We see me, we see you, we see Ryan Clark, we see Damian Woody, all this stuff. Every time I see these clicks, that, these trees that are developing with the branches, the tentacles that reach out and blesses the NFL with their presence. No wonder we've got just one black coach in 2022. Because all of these trees, all of these cliques that have developed, I mean, you got brothers on your staff. Ain't any of them your friends? How come none of them are included in these trees? That's what stood out to me, that we sitting here talking about Kevin O'Connell, and I hope listen, God bless him. He's a talent, and I hope he gets a job one day. But I'm just wondering about stuff like that when clearly you got coaches that have paid their dues who happen to be black that never get mentioned.
No, I think it's a good point, Stephen A. So when the news broke yesterday of Kevin O'Connell being the likely candidate that's going to get hired, I think, from Graziano, I was on the plane out to Vegas, and I thought, okay, my immediate mind was, well, who's he going to take with him to Minnesota to be his offensive coordinator? And the immediate thought was, well, the offensive coordinator for the University of Kentucky, Liam Cohen, because Liam Cohen comes from the Los Angeles Rams. So I was like, okay, Liam Cohen's going to go there. Then who's going to replace Kevin O'Connell? And I thought, well, maybe Liam Cohen will go to the Rams then. And then Steve Weish said in a tweet to me like, hey, Thomas Brown, who's the running backs coach out for the Los Angeles Rams, who running back, long time at Georgia, he could be a guy that I'm hopeful enters into that offensive coordinator role that not only will then give him this springboard opportunity to be a head coach, but also comes from that type of tree, that question that you're asking. So I think Thomas Brown is a name that it's super important in all these kind of revolving pieces that are going on with these head coaching things. And then I also say this, Stephen, I know I love the Shanahan tree more than anybody in the world, right? I love it. I also would say this, because I thought Justin Fields should be in that tree. If I were the Chicago Bears and Matt Eberflus, I would very much so consider hiring Pep Hamilton.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.